Hazardous energy control.
Learning objectives.
Oh, no. I'm not doing that again. Learning objectives. State the purpose of the Hazardous Energy Control Program at TRF. Give examples of types of hazardous energy. Identify a lockout device. Describe TAGS Plus. The purpose of hazardous energy control. Protect employees from the accidental discharge of hazardous energy during the maintenance of machinery, equipment, or systems. Examples of hazardous energy: mechanical energy, pneumatic energy, hydraulic energy, electrical energy, chemical energy, and thermal energy. Lockout device. When a red lock is used for hazardous energy control, it is referred to as a lockout. It is positioned to hold the energy isolating device in a safe or off position. Red locks at TRF are not to be used for any other purpose than hazardous energy control. Red locks may only be installed by trained authorized employees. This presentation does not qualify you to hang red locks. Red locks are never to be tampered with by anyone other than the authorized employee who installed them. TAGS Plus. Less commonly, red and white striped tags are used for energy control. A tag is only used shoreside if a lock cannot be used to secure the isolation point. This method requires at least one additional safety measure and is referred to as TAGS Plus. Examples of additional safety measures include removing an isolating circuit element, bleeding lines, removing a valve handle, or wiring it in place. Tags can only be installed by trained authorized employees. This presentation does not qualify you to hang tags. Tags are never to be tampered with by anyone other than the authorized employee who installed them. Hearing conservation safety training. Learning objectives. Describe consequences of hearing loss. Describe risk of hearing loss. Describe care and maintenance of hearing protection devices. Consequence of hearing loss. Hearing loss decreases your situational awareness, localize, identify, and ability to respond quickly and appropriately. Hearing is necessary for teamwork and training. Crucial for forming relationships, connecting with friends and family, and participating in life. Alarm clocks, cell phones, media, sports events, karaoke, community activities, and such. Sources of hearing loss. Sounds are pressure waves. The louder the sound and the longer the exposure to that sound, the greater the risk of damage. Sound pressure waves are not created equal. Ship noise, gunshots, intensity and duration of the noise determine the risk. Hearing protection care and maintenance. Noise muffs. Wipe down ear cups with alcohol-free cloth. Check for ear cup defects and deformities. Replace cushions when cracked or broken. Modification of muffs is prohibited. Hand-formed earplugs, made for one-time use. Avoid inserting within soiled hands. Never use if contaminated with metal filings or corrosives. Hazard communication training. Learning objectives. Describe safety data sheets, SDS. Identify hazards associated with pictograms. Name hazards associated with NFPA diamond. Describe methods of personal monitoring. State requirements of personal protective equipment usage. State correct reaction to spills. Safety data sheets. Safety data sheets are written documents that outline product information and discuss procedures for handling and working with hazardous materials. Your supervisor or shop hazardous material coordinator will tell you the location of SDSs in your work area. Information on SDSs include hazard identification, composition, first aid, spill measures, handling and storage, PPE to be used, and other information. Pictograms. Health hazard. Carcinogen. Mutagenicity. reproductive toxicity, respiratory sensitizer, target organ toxicity, aspiration toxicity, gas cylinder, gases under pressure, flame over circle, oxidizers, flame, flammable, pyrophorics, self-heating, emits flammable gas, self-reactive, organic peroxide, corrosion, skin corrosion, burns, eye damage, corrosive to metals, skull and crossbones, acute toxicity, fatal or toxic, exclamation mark, irritant, skin and eye, skin sensitizer, acute toxicity, harmful, narcotic effects, respiratory tract irritant, hazardous to ozone layer, non-mandatory, exploding bomb, explosives, self-reactives, organic peroxides, environment, non-mandatory per OSHA, aquatic toxicity, NFPA diamond. The rating scale for health hazards is listed below. 0, no hazard, 1, slight hazard, 2, dangerous, 3, extreme danger, and 4, deadly. Flammability. The rating scale for flammability hazards is based on the flash point for the material. 0, will not burn. 1, ignites above 200 degrees Fahrenheit. 2, ignites below 200 degrees Fahrenheit. 3, ignites below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. 4, ignites below 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Reactivity. The hazard class is colored yellow. The rating scale for reactivity is listed below. 0, stable. 1, normally stable. 2, unstable. 3, explosive. 4, may detonate. 5, your X. Special hazards. Hazards of this category are colored white. The special hazards are represented by the following. W with a line through it, water reactive. OXY, oxidizer. COR, corrosive. Acid means it's an acid. ALK means it's an alkali. The trifoil means that it has radioactivity. Personal monitoring. Monitor yourself and others for symptoms such as skin rashes, dizziness, eye or throat irritations, or strong odors. These should be reported to your supervisor. Personal protective equipment, PPE. Follow the SDS requirements and any additional shop or code requirements for PPE when using hazardous materials. Always wear at least the minimum prescribed personal protective equipment for your job. Spills. In the event of a spill, ask yourself the following questions. Do I know the hazards of the spilled material? Do I know how to protect myself from the hazard? Is the material contained and kept from entering a drain or water? Environmental Management System, EMS. It doesn't always go according to plan.
It had to be said, the Oregon State Highway Division not only had a whale of a problem on its hands, it had a stinking whale of a problem. What to do with one 45-foot, 8-ton whale dead on arrival on the beach near Florence. It had been so long since a whale had washed up in Lane County, nobody could remember how to get rid of one. In selecting its battle plan, the Highway Division decided the carcass couldn't be buried because it might soon be uncovered. It couldn't be cut up and then buried because nobody wanted to cut it up, and it couldn't be burned. So dynamite it was, some 20 cases or a half-ton of it. The hope was that the long-dead Pacific gray whale would be almost disintegrated by the blast, and that any small pieces still around after the explosion would be taken care of by seagulls and other scavengers. Indeed, the seagulls had been standing nearby all day. As everything was being made ready, we asked George Thornton, the highway engineer in charge of the project, for his final observation.
Well, I'm confident that it'll work. The only thing is we're not sure just exactly how much explosives it'll take to disintegrate this thing so the scavengers, seagulls, and crabs and whatnot can clean it up.
Is there any chance it might be more than a one-day job?
If there's any large chunks left, and we may have to do some other cleanup, possibly set another charge.
The dynamite was buried primarily on the leeward side of the big mammal, so as most of the remains would be blown toward the sea. About 75 bystanders, most of them residents who had first found the whale to be an object of curiosity before they tired of its smell, were moved back a quarter of a mile away. The sand dunes there were covered with spectators and land lubber newsmen, shortly to become land blubber newsmen, for the blast blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds.
You get a wild?
All right, Fred, you can take your hands out of your ears. Here comes pieces of my...
Our cameras stopped rolling immediately after the blast. The humor of the entire situation suddenly gave way to a run for survival as huge chunks of whale blubber fell everywhere. Pieces of meat passed high over our heads while others were falling at our feet. The dunes were rapidly evacuated as spectators escaped both the falling debris and the overwhelming smell. A parked car over a quarter of a mile from the blast site was the target of one large chunk. The passenger compartment literally smashed. Fortunately, no human was hit as badly as the car. However, everyone on the scene was covered with small particles of dead whale. As for the success of the effort, well, the seagulls who were supposed to clean things up were nowhere in sight, either scared away by the explosion or kept away by the smell. That didn't really matter. The remaining chunks were of such a size that no respectable seagull would attempt to tackle anyway. As darkness began to set in, the highway crews were back on the beach burying the remains, including a large piece of the carcass which never left the blast site. It might be concluded that should a whale ever wash ashore in Lane County again, those in charge will not only remember what to do, they'll certainly remember what not to do.